Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. I'm Crystal, the Crystalline Priestess, Intuitive Evolutionary Astrologer and Psychic Tarot Reader, and today we have our third installment of Astro Tea Weekly. Huzzah! So, I am obviously posting this a little bit late, but you know, we're entitled to sometimes being late. Let's just get into the energy of this week because it's another massive week. So, let's hop into it, my loves. Okay, so I'm not going to make this video too long because there's honestly just too much to talk about. I'm going to share this week the daily horoscope, so if you do want detailed, explanations of what's going on every day individually, tune in to them. Make sure you're liked and subscribed and all that sort of stuff with the channel. So, okay. Mars Square Neptune, we're starting off this week, and I already can feel the frustration of this aspect just in general. As I was trying to get ready to film this reading, it's just like everything was coming in and annoying me right on the last minute as I'm trying to get this shit started. So very much Mars Square Neptune energy, where, like I was saying last week, it's very much an energy of wanting to get stuff done and just sort of things getting a little in the way. Things are a bit foggy. I feel like at the moment with Mars Square Neptune, this is sort of talking about the collective's uncertainty about the action that we're currently taking at the moment. We've had so much Mars and Pisces, or Gemini and Pisces action that's been coming in over the past few weeks and months, and it's basically just been a really eye-opening time for all of us to. And with this square to Neptune, it's actually feeling like an eye-opening time for us to realize what it is that we truly value, what it is that we truly, it's more of like a dreamy vibe. The first card that we have coming out is the Dilettante, which is automatically just making me think of, the artistic side of Neptune with this Mars Square Neptune this week. So it's very much feeling as though we're kind of recalibrating our artistic selves. We're getting more maybe inspired, I think, this week when it comes to where we're wanting to put our energy, and especially when it comes to creative tasks. I think creative things this week is definitely going to be coming up, but with the Saboteur at the bottom of the deck, that's very much a Mars Square Neptune aspect energy as well, which is very much asking us to not go down the rabbit hole of self-sabotage this week. So the biggest thing with Piscean energy can sometimes be victimization. And so Mars being in a square with Neptune this week is saying, let's not lose ourselves in any sense or sort of victimization. If you see me looking down, once again, I got my laptop here. This time I haven't actually been doing any notes lately. I've just been going completely off the dome. And so that's why I'm not looking down quite as much. But if you do see me looking down, it's just because I'm like looking at the chart for reference, as well as I've got my cards. So the light attributes of the Saboteur, listen to me, I can't speak now, highlights your fear of self-empowerment and the changes that it would bring to your life. So I feel like this Mars Square Neptune is really asking us to consider what making some of these chronic changes that we've been with Neptune really avoiding over a long period of time. What would these changes actually bring into our lives? So we now have Mars, who has well and truly moved past the point in which he went retrograde back in, was it 2022? I think it was maybe around October 2022. Don't quite quote me on the exact dates because bitches always forgetting. But Mars went retrograde in 2022, and I think that he didn't go direct until around January maybe of 2023. So I will look into that to make sure that I'm certain. If anyone has any questions or anything, you can just ask me and I'll look it up for you. But, it's around those dates. And so this is actually like a 2-year thing that we're working through at the moment. This is us dealing with self-empowerment issues since then. We're still dealing with some repercussions from 2 years ago at the moment when it comes to this Mars Square Saturn. To me, it feels as though this is very much the time where Spirit is calling us into being extremely aware, extremely awake, and being extremely, I think, well thought through when taking action, and especially action towards your goals and action towards what it is that you're wanting to actually manifest, the dreams in which you have in your heart. So the sun's in Virgo this week, and we're having a new moon in Virgo as well on Tuesday. which is crazy because on Tuesday we also have Pluto moving back into Capricorn. So yes, okay, we're starting off this week with a really strong Mars square Neptune that's building, but we're also kicking off the week with a really powerful, well, it's not the most powerful moon, but the fact that Pluto has just moved into Capricorn on the same day, like literally moments before the moon and the sun make their conjunction to make the new moon, Pluto moves back into Capricorn. And so, boom, big cleanup energy. Now, the sun and the moon, when we're having the new moon this week, are actually in a very, it's a wide opposition with Saturn, because Saturn's at 16 degrees of Pisces and the sun and the moon are having their new moon at 11 degrees. So we are 5 degrees away from an exact opposition with Saturn. So it is not as strong as a limitation feeling that we could have over this new moon, but there is still a feeling of restriction, and there still is a feeling of, holy fuck, I really need to clean things up. I think as well though with this dilettante, now I want to read out the light attributes, because it feels as though with this Mars square Neptune, a lot of us are realizing we don't actually need to be the top dog at everything it is that we do. This is giving me the energy of a lot of us picking up actual hobbies or things that we like to do in our local area, our local environment, that sort of stuff, that are generally just to bring us joy or spiritual connection, or to just make us feel energized and happy. You know, I'm going to use an example for me, and I've been getting back into like lap swimming lately in the freaking pool, and it has become the biggest joy of my life. Which, so Mars square Neptune, you know, it's pretty much this feeling of like, I need to get into my body in order to connect with the divine. And so with Mars square Neptune this week, we're really being called into our bodies in order to connect with spirit. You know, this is, especially with the sun in Virgo and the opposition with Saturn, this is the week to be doing your workouts. This is the week to be getting into your, you know, creating your habits around your breathing techniques and all sorts of things. It feels like especially because Mars actually in Gemini, it rules the lungs. So with the square to Neptune, it's very much a powerful week this week to really be doing your breath work. And I've been saying this a lot. Anytime we have anything in Gemini, I'm going to be bringing up the lungs, and I'm going to be bringing up the fact that breath work is just so powerful and such a clearer of the head. Because the thing with Neptune is it's foggy, and it's giving me like, you know, a foggy brain, a foggy outlook sort of energy. And so the best way to kind of clear through that fog is breath. And I'm seeing someone literally doing like Nadi Shodhana, yogic breathing. So definitely get into your yogic breathing, or just any breath work that you do. Even Qigong, very, very, very helpful this week. So the light attributes of the dilettante is delights in the arts without having to be a professional. Alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. So I feel like a lot of us actually this week are taking a step back, and I think that's this new moon opposition with Saturn, because it's asking us to not take ourselves so motherfucking seriously in everything that we do. So, you know, if you've just recently taken up some sort of new hobby, do you really need to be the best of the best in it already? You know, do you need to like, here's an example, like I just said with me starting swimming, like I suck, I'm really slow, it's hard, I can't swim that far, all that sort of stuff, but I can't help the little version of me that's inside that's kind of like, you know, oh yeah, well now that I'm swimming I want to become the best, you know. And it's just that like we have a bit of a natural human tendency to just want to like overdo things. And so I feel like this sun moon opposition with Saturn this week, definitely asking us to like know when enough is enough, know when to stop. You know, another example, yesterday when I was swimming in the pool, I just kept going because I had energy. And even though I am brand new to like getting back into swimming, so I really can't actually swim that far without getting fucked. Like that's why I didn't film this reading yesterday, because I was literally too effed up. I was too tired. And so I just kept going. I swam definitely more laps than I wanted to or expected to or planned to, and I was stoked on that. But then I was literally going to do a final 2 laps at the end, so last 100 meters, and my goggles broke. Literally, as I was like sitting there and I was like, do I put them on? Do I put them on? Do I do it? My goggles broke. And so I was like, okay, Spirit, I'm going to take that as a sign. I'm not going to do any more. Then I got out of the pool and realized that the pool was closing. So not only did my goggles break to tell me, but the pool was also closing, so I had to stop. So, you know, this is when the divine sort of steps in and says, enough is enough. It's great. I'm so proud of you for getting in the pool. I'm so proud of you for getting out there and doing that. But can you please know when enough is enough? Because this is very much the lesson between Saturn, and this is so, I'm really preaching this because I spoke to this last week when I said I have Sun, Saturn in Pisces, Virgo energy. So this is me all over. This is such a fucking fuck around energy because it's so much like, yes, we need to like charge hard and make this happen and get into the body and make, you know, make things logical, make things practical and have this structure and all this sort of stuff and to do the thing. But the Pisces Saturn is also asking for you to be in tune with what is spiritually right for you, you know, and sometimes you need to give yourself rest. And we've talked about this heaps over the past few weeks. I've been talking so much about knowing when to stop, knowing when to go. So this is another one of those weeks. Now, the new moon is the last sort of moon that we're going to have before our next set of eclipses. We have eclipses coming in on the 18th of September this month. So we're really only 2 weeks away now from the next set of eclipses. So it's been 6 months now since we just had those Aries and those Libra eclipses, or it's almost 6 months since we've had those eclipses. So now we're really seeing, like the next stage of evolution that we're going to be moving through, because that is what eclipses are. They're nodal, they're evolutionary. So this is a big week to get us ready for what's going to be coming in over these next set of eclipses. Because we have we have Pluto that has just moved back into Capricorn, we are collectively still going to be dealing with a lot of the old world paradigms. So when I say old world paradigms, I'm talking about the stuff that happened in 2020 and is still affecting us now to this point. All of those practical earthy things, the government things, the money things, all those things that I can't really talk about on YouTube without getting flagged. So, you know, just put it where it fits. But basically, this is when we're going to be seeing escalations again in the world. And we've already been seeing escalations, but now that Pluto's back in Capricorn, he's back in the earth, he's practical. We've got this moon that is in an earth sign as well, or this new moon that's in the earth sign as well. We got, you know, Pluto actually making a really nice sextile here with Neptune as Mars is actually squaring Neptune. So huge week of growth that we're in for, huge week of just, I feel like it's understanding, it's figuring ourselves out, it's figuring out, I'm hearing the way we work. So I feel like a lot of us over the past few months have been really having to hone in and learn on how we actually work and how we move as a person, and to clear that out in a way that means that we're no longer spreading ourselves too thin is what I'm hearing. I feel like a lot of us have been spreading ourselves too thin, and because we had such a gnarly Gemini season this year, right? So much has been going on since May. And so it feels as though there's just this need over this moon to really see where things are not ever going to look as perfect as they did in the past. And so that's with Pluto moving back into Capricorn, we're really going to be seeing where the old world that we grew up in, you know, if you're my age, if you're older, you know, we are 90s, we're 80s kids, we're 70s kids, we're 60s kids, we're 50s kids. You know, we grew up in the old world. Now we're in Pluto and Aquarius, you know. Now the world is different. Now we've had the huge, and they call it conjunctionalist astrology, when we have massive outer planet conjunctions. These are the points in humanity and throughout all of history that create the biggest cataclysmic changes in all of humanity's existence. So the massive conjunctions that we had 2020, 2021, all that sort of stuff, you know, Jupiter conjunct Saturn, I can't even remember them all at this point. I'm like, it's too much. So we've had all these massive conjunctions back then. They have all created a cataclysm of change. And so this week is a week where we're really seeing where change has become rooted and grounded everywhere, all throughout our lives, all throughout everything. There's no going back. There's no going back to the way you used to work in your business. There's no going back to the way you used to work for your employer. There's no going back to the way you used to take care of things. Everything is different now. You have to level up to the level in which society is asking you to now be at. And when I say society, I'm actually not really meaning society, people-wise, because everybody with Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces and with Mars squaring that, everyone is absolutely lost at the moment. Collectively, the collective is lost. There is so much confusion out there, especially when it comes to knowing what is real and what is fake and information. And so there's a lot of fake information that is going to be coming out this week. There's a lot of fake information that I think we're going to be seeing with the global lists, when we're seeing with the government and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of fake stuff that we're seeing. So it's a week to try and have your wits about you, obviously, like all of this. I mean, I'm going to say this every week then while we have 29 degree Pisces Neptune, is have your wits about you, because everything is fog. Everything is uncertainty. Everything is change. Essentially at the moment, we have Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus all at the last final degrees of their signs, guys. Like, these are the points in time where humanity does the biggest shifts. So we're living through them right now, and this is one of those weeks where you're having to put in the work. Virgo is putting in the work. It's the day-to-day grind. So you're not even needing to understand that the grind is going to look different to how it looked in the past. Maybe it looks a little bit more hard. Maybe it looks a bit more confusing. With Lilith and the South Node making a conjunction this week, this is showing that humanity wants things to be easier than they are. We want this peaceful energy. We don't want war. We don't want battles. We don't want fighting and all this sort of stuff. But that is not where we're at. The astrology says this is not the time, you know? When the South Node is with Lilith and we have Venus there as well. So this is all really showing where not standing in your own power, not standing in your own warrior essence and your own strength and integrity is going to leave you feeling really lost, sad, and depressed, and essentially without a sense of identity, because this Libra energy, it's in a dark energy, right? So the more you try to people please, the more you try to appear to look a certain way or to please everybody, the more you try to please everyone in the room, the more you're going to feel as though, I mean, and not even that, please everyone in the room, but also if you're trying to please an agenda, if you're trying to please a cause, you know, and I'm going to use my own self as an example. When I was younger and I was a vegan and I was all about the vegan cause, you know, that was my identity. So if you're building your identity off a cause right now, man, get out of it. You ain't gonna last. You are not gonna last, okay? I might sound like a bitch, but it's true, because Pluto and Aquarius is everybody trying to seem cool to each other. Pluto and Aquarius is trying to be cool by sticking with the trends. Pluto and Aquarius is following in everybody else's idea of what looks cool. What's the cool new social justice thing to do? So I'm just going to be the one to say it outright. If you're following in that shit, you're falling for that shit. So don't let ignorance keep you from living your life in integrity and authenticity, my friend. The last thing that I think is the most sort of interesting thing that's coming in this week is Mercury, that will be squaring with Uranus again as he moves back towards Virgo. Now that he's out of retrograde and he's still in his shadow period because he's moving through the part of the chart that he was retrograding through. So we're still cleaning things up, but he is going to make a square with Uranus towards the end of the week. So towards the end of the week as well, we have the sun making that clear. It's getting closer to that exact opposition with Sun, and things get a little bit more hectic towards the end of the week. But also the start of the week really brings things up too, with that like instant sort of shift from Pluto and Aquarius back into Pluto into Capricorn, and then we have that new moon. It's like, whoa. So definitely this is a week where there's a lot of internal work that we're doing, a lot of thinking. I feel like thinking is definitely like an energy that's coming up a lot. It's just very much, it's feeling like a week of really needing to like listen to your own needs, especially with Mars square Neptune. We have light and we have memories of love. Spiritual strength at the bottom of the deck, and that's very much this Mars squared Neptune feeling. Spiritual strength. It's about needing to hold ourselves up even if everything around us feels like it's crumbling, or just on the world stage it looks like it's crumbling. This is about us needing to stay in our light, in our joy, in our radiance, I feel as though a lot of us are maybe feeling quite nostalgic this week. There is a nostalgia for sure that's coming up about the past, but I feel as though this nostalgia is coming in to maybe have you realizing where your happiness is, where your light is, where your joy is, where your radiance is. It feels like it's not so much about looking into the past and thinking, wow, I wish I had that again. It's more so looking into the past and seeing, I was so happy then because of this. And realizing that if you just adopt this in like an upgraded, updated way, it's actually going to help you to restore yourself into feeling so much more aligned and happier. I feel like this is about happiness because the sun and moon in Virgo, this, like, you know, a new moon in Virgo in general is just a new moon in that is asking us to plant new seeds in how we're living our life. It's planting new seeds on our lifestyle and how we're taking care of ourselves and how we're actually experiencing our day-to-day reality. So the biggest thing I think over this week is really creating that healthy sense of schedule and routine. And I spoke to, you know, that Aquarius full moon should have had you rescheduling how you're wanting to move through your days, how you're wanting to move through your life. It really should have had you focusing on, okay, this is what it needs to look like structure-wise. So now with the moon in the opposition with Saturn this week, have you been doing that work? Have you been structuring? Have you been clearing out, like I said, I was about to say the M&Ms in the closet, oh my god. Have you been cleaning out your closet like we spoke about last week? Have you been pulling up underneath the rug and taking a look at what's under there? As well as, you know, this Mars square Neptune thing is probably, it's also a warning sign to be careful to not sort of lose your shit or get angry about things that really you don't actually know what is going on. It can be miscommunication, it can be misinterpretation, it can just, there's a lot of uncertainty that could sort of be coming up for people this week, and I think that could be having people in a reactive energy, as well as Mars square Neptune. Be careful on boats, be careful on the ocean, any of that sort of stuff. Don't go too fast out in the water, jet skis, all that sort of stuff, ski biscuiting or anything. You know, just be careful when it comes to going really, really fast in the water. Yeah, okay, I feel like that is, let's get one more card for the overall vibes of this week. But you know, the advice I suppose for this week is to really try and listen to your own, like, this is funny because these cards are so representing that, but like to listen to your own wisdom. Listen to what your body is trying to tell you. With the Sun and Saturn opposition, Pisces and Virgo, it's very much about listening and being in tune with the body. This is the axis, in my opinion, that is the rooting and grounding of spirituality and practicality into the real world. Because Pisces is spiritual essence and Virgo is reality. So this is about us needing to ground our spiritual, let's ground our spiritual energy into physical, practical reality. So having a beautiful practice, you know, having a spiritual practice. What is your practice? What is the thing that you physically do that makes you feel spiritually clean, cleansed, clear, and alive? This is about what you physically are doing that makes you feel spiritually open, that makes you feel spiritually clean, all that sort of stuff. It's about creating that symbiosis through balance. Now the last cards we have is wisdom. On a Wednesday with a waxing moon, let wisdom come and be renewed. And see, Wednesday is when, no, it's not, it's Tuesday. So Tuesday is when we're going to be having that new moon. So on Wednesday, I really want you guys to be sitting with that energy. I really want you guys to be allowing yourselves to have these insights pour through you. Allow yourself to listen to your own sense of wisdom, you know, journaling. That's the thing with Mercury, with Virgo. It's very much an energy about journaling and writing things out. So, you know, all that sort of stuff is very beneficial for you over this week. And then we have romance. Romance, it is a sacred power. Let it come to me this hour. So that's the thing with Mars square Neptune as well. This could be a week where it's like very lovey-dovey, it's a little playful, and that's the thing with Venus in her conjunction with the South Node, or she's moving into a conjunction with the South Node and Lilith. There's definitely a bit of like a raunchy energy that could be coming through this week. So it's, I want to say, be careful when it comes to cheating, okay? Like obviously most you guys watching this are probably not going to be doing that, but this is just an energy where you could get, with that Venus Lilith South Node, you could get really caught up in something that is a fantasy and a delusion and isn't really reality, with Mars square Neptune. So you could get caught up in something that you think is okay and it turns out that it's not. So very much this week is a week of just being careful. But you know, if you're single, I'd say that with the romance and the wisdom card coming out, it's more so about you seeing and thinking about the past and thinking about your relationships that you've had, or maybe even the parents and your parents and the relationship that they had, and using that as a way to understand your own tendencies in a relationship. Because the Mars square Neptune, it's not really a time, in my opinion as an astrologer, to be making actions and to be making moves. You know, if you get with someone over this week, it's probably not going to be someone that sticks around forever, if you know what I mean. So I mean, if you feel like having a little bit of fun, I'm not going to stop you, but don't expect it to be some big magical thing, because with Mars square Neptune you might think that and it turns out that it's actually not. Last thing we have is confidence and divine guidance. So this is very much, like I spoke to, this is very much a week of listening to spirit and allowing yourself to be confident in what you're hearing as a result. You know, confident in your own wisdom as well, confident in your own knowledge, confident that you are making the right choices for yourself. Divine guidance says, whispers from the beings who shine, let their message be clear and kind. And so with Mars square Neptune this week, and with this Sun opposition with Saturn, it's definitely, and plus with the Mercury square Uranus, this is definitely the week to be listening to what spirit has in store for you. Like I said with the writing things, automatic writing might be a really nice way to connect with spirit. Even just like, you know, doing a burning ball ritual with this confidence. It's giving me like just doing things that make you feel as though you're committed and connected with spirit. And so whatever that looks like to you, maybe it's going to the beach, maybe it's doing a ritual by the ocean, maybe it's lighting a candle just before you go to bed, maybe it's getting out of bed really early one morning and doing a yoga practice with breath work and lighting, you know, your sage and doing your thing. Whatever that's going to look like for you, it's going to be different. But it's what you need to do this week in order to bring you into this. You know, I'm feeling like this is a very spiritual week. There's two roads we could go down this week. Either getting really lost out in the weird crazy, or we could be feeling really, really connected to the divine. We could be feeling really connected to spirit and really open and aware, and also connected to our loved ones, you know, connected to people who have passed, connected to just a bigger, broader reality, because Mars square Neptune is actually asking for us to see more spirit. I think that there is a lot of us seeing things, especially with Jupiter being in Gemini and square Saturn, you know, where there's a lot of us who are still seeing things maybe a little bit too practically, maybe a little bit too realistically. And like I said, this is very much about balance, because it is about seeing things from a realistic, practical perspective at the moment, but it's also understanding that spirit is real. God is real, the divine is a real thing, and it really is playing part in your life, and it really is having an impact on how you feel in your life and about everything it is that you do. So it's very important that you honor this part of your life and that you honor this part of being a human, you know? And especially if you're connected in with me and my readings, well, then you're spiritual AF, so get and do your shit, okay? Stop putting it off. Confidence. By earth and air, water and fire, let my confidence take light and burn higher. So this Mars square Neptune is really going to help build your confidence if you listen to spirit, if you move with your intuition, if you're actually acting on your own accord, you know, if you're acting on your own divine guidance. And that's the thing, Mars square Neptune, if you're acting on drugs, if you're making decisions or doing things because your mind isn't fully there, or because you're on something, or because you're having a breakdown, or you're literally just being delusional, you will have problems. But if you are moving from a space that is intuitively awake and that is intuitively aware and that is quiet and it's sitting with itself and it's paying real attention and it's small and it's slow, and here we have candles again, so definitely candle rituals will be very beneficial over this new moon. And I think the thing is too, because it's a new moon in Virgo, you know, it's a practical sign. It's a practical sign, it's an earth sign. It's about practicality. So it is about making maybe like a practical list or a practical, like I said, organizing yourself practically this week in a way that makes you feel like you have more spiritual control. And I think maybe this is organizing ourselves in a practical spiritual way, and what I mean by that is, you know, creating a spiritual practice, whether that's yoga and breath work, whether that's a morning walk, whether that's a morning swim, whatever that's going to look like in your life, there is a practical need for you to be engaging in a spiritual practice and a spiritual modality, whether it's, like I said, breathing, qigong, running, whatever it is that you want to do, just meditating, whatever it is that you want to do. It's going to be different for everyone, but it's very important over this week that you jump into it. So my loves, I'm going to leave this reading there. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, if you resonated, if you vibed with it, please do give this video a thumbs up, because it helps to spread these readings to more astro nerds just like you and me. I'm also going to be uploading daily horoscopes from this week on. I don't think that I'm going to be filming them on the actual day. I'm going to be filming them the day before, so they're all going to be up maybe the afternoon before the next day. Hopefully is what I'm planning on doing. So I would like to thank your angels, your ancestors, your higher self, your spirit guides, and all the beautiful benevolent beings that are surrounding you and I in all moments, for allowing me to receive and to deliver this powerful message to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, I really, really appreciate you guys. Make sure you tune into your channeled songs as well, because they're fantastic. And I will see you guys in the next reading. There should also be a pick a card coming up this week as well. So I love you guys. Peace.